What if I told you that just by following these 7 tips, you'd have much better success in not only landing the job interview, but crushing the interview itself? Let's dive right in. Item 1, mindset. So go ahead and jump off this video if you are not willing to recognize the fact that mindset is the foundation and the most critical aspect of having success in the job search and your interviews. Leave this video now, because all the data and science backs up the fact that if we believe we're going to get the job, the likelihood that we will drastically goes up. So I work with a lot of clients who tell me, hey, Jeff, if I don't get it this time, or next time around, if we work together in the future, and it's like, well, we're already creating the mindset and future planning to fail, we will fail. So you got to get your mind right. You got to start thinking positively about the job search, even with all the current economic conditions. Get your mind right first, because nothing else will matter if you don't take that critical step. Now, the second item is LinkedIn. Okay, let's jump a lot of other people off now, because nobody on YouTube watches videos that have anything to do with LinkedIn. It's boring, nobody cares. That's how I got hired at Google. That's my number one thing. When I updated my LinkedIn profile to say I was recruiting software engineers, I was working at Google 3 to 6 months later. It is a critical detail that we keep our LinkedIn up to date. Why? It is a keyword search finder. The more keywords that you have in your LinkedIn profile, the more likely somebody random is to find you and hire you or get you into that interview process. So in your experience section, make sure that you copy and paste your resume bullets to not only highlight accomplishments, but also day-to-day work. Both are going to be critical to show up in those keyword searches. And hey, if you don't have a smiling picture that's shoulders and above, you're losing a huge audience there as well. Let's move on to number 3. We're going to lose people at every single area here. Networking. 10% of people globally get jobs by applying. 10%. So what does that mean? Everybody's like, when can I apply again? When should I apply? How many times can I apply? You shouldn't be applying. Now, I get it. That's part of the strategy, but networking is a much better approach to getting in. Typically, we don't want to network with recruiters. They're a waste of time. We want to network with the key decision makers. So likely somebody who's in a like role or a hiring manager. Those are going to be the best people for us to connect with. So how do we do it? It's a give first model. We got to give. So second connections on LinkedIn, we'll reach out with a cool video, a cool article, and we'll say, hey, Sue, came across your profile, looks awesome. Just wanted to share this article in regards to machine learning. I thought you'd find it really cool. Looking forward to connect. And even if they connect, ask for nothing. We really need to give. The second strategy is just respond to a lot of people's activity on LinkedIn. So when they post stuff, just get involved. You would be shocked at how simple it is to open doors by networking. And by the way, nobody watches the networking content on YouTube either. So now the fourth one is a little bit more unique to me, and I just want to introduce it really basically, really simply. It's S.O.D. And so when I work with clients, I only focus in on S.O.D. And specifically, S.O.D stands for structure, organization, and detail. These are the only 3 interviewing tips that I work on with clients. If we know how to structure the answers, STAR for the behavioral side, and CFAST for the open-ended side, I'll pin some videos up there to give you more data there. If we understand that structure, it's a great baseline and very simple to understand the structure. Then how do we organize the data within that structure? That's tougher, making sure we always stay in order, which can be hard. The length of time of each one of those items is also more difficult. And the most difficult, level of detail. Too much, too little, finding the balance as you're preparing to figure out how much detail you want to provide. That is very tricky. But if you follow just understanding structure, organization, and level of detail, that will really help your preparation. So now we're going to flip the coin. Human practice. If you were to talk to any interview coach, anybody in the interviewing space, they're going to tell you the same exact thing. If you are not practicing with other human beings, you're missing so much. And it's not just your answers. You can record your answers over video. You can talk to yourself in the mirror, but you're just not going to pick up on everything. We got to figure out those body language cues. We got to figure out our words. What are the missing details? Human practice is key. And the person on the other side doesn't have to be great. They just have to listen and give you some advice, and you have to go through the exercise of stumbling, fumbling on your words. Human practice is key, and I guarantee that many people who watch this video, if you made it this far into the video, that you're not doing that or not doing it enough. This next one is something I've talked about a ton. Taking your time. 99% of my clients, when I ask them a behavioral or open-ended question, are answering the question within 1 second. So what does that mean? You likely haven't written the question down, you haven't restated the question, and you have not built the space to understand the question being asked of you. And our brains just aren't that good. They're not and do not have the ability to go that quickly. And even on the behavioral side, you might have an example, but what's the pivot point? Where do we start our actions? And on the open-ended side, what are the clarifying questions? How are we going to go and build the frameworks? And we're going to have a plan for that. But what are the assumptions? What are the assumptions we want to tie into our answer to give our audience a specific visual? And that's really the last item. The last item is building connectivity through details. Oftentimes, especially on the behavioral side, we haven't set the scene. And the scene should be set very clearly, but I don't know anything about the client, the industry, the process, the strategy, the tech. I don't know anything, and I'm lost for the rest of the answer. And then the actions, they just don't have specificity. They're very high level. We met with the team, we launched it, we presented it, but I don't know what that looks like. So you really have to build connectivity through details. And on the open-ended side, it especially comes in the assumptions. If the assumptions are very, very vague, I'm not going to have a clear picture of what you're talking about. It's going to feel risky to niche down on your assumptions, but the reality is staying high level is way riskier. I spent a lot of time today thinking about the video I wanted to do. I created a few scripts. I've shot a few different videos today, but ultimately, I really wanted to identify 7 areas where I really felt like starting from the beginning of the job search through interviewing, these would be a little bit unique in terms of the tips. And again, just based on my data, things from LinkedIn to networking to mindset to all these things we talked about today often cause the people watching the videos to shut down, but these are the critical steps that will get you into the interview process. And then once you get into the interviews, you've practiced enough, you're really slowing down, you're really taking your time, and you're building that great connectivity with your interviewers. These are going to be the keys to success. I really hope this unscripted video helps. Good luck.